Hello, everyone. Today is Wednesday, May 6th. Welcome back to online learning. Thank you so much for joining me for this little information session, reviewing the challenge, the story, and talking about our comic creation assignment. Okay, so let's get started. Okay. Okay, so everyone, if you remember from last week, you were assigned to read the challenge. Now, I'm hoping that you've read it already, but if you haven't, no problem. I'm going to read a little bit of it here with you, and then you'll read, of course, the rest on your own. I'm going to talk about how to identify some of the main ideas in this story, and then you'll be using those main ideas when you're creating your little comic, okay? So everyone, the story of the challenge by Gary Soto. So Gary Soto is an American poet, novelist, and memoirist. In this short story, a boy tries to impress a new girl at his school. As you read, I'd like you to highlight and take notes on how Jose feels about Estella. So I'm going to read the first little bit. So of course, this story is about a boy. He's trying to impress a girl. And so it's kind of interesting what he tries and then kind of what happens afterwards. So for 3 weeks, Jose tried to get the attention of Estella, the new girl at his middle school. She's cute, he said to himself when he first saw her in the cafeteria, unloading her lunch of 2 sandwiches, potato chips, a piece of cake wrapped in wax paper, and a boxed juice from a brown paper bag. Man, she can grub. On the way home from school, he walked through the alleys of his town, Fresno, kicking cans. He was lost in a dream, trying to figure out a way to make Estella notice him. He thought of tripping in front of her while she was leaving her math class, but he had already tried that with a girl in 6th grade. All he did was rip his pants and bruise his knee, which kept him from playing in the championship soccer game. And that girl had just stepped over him as he lay on the ground, the shame of rejection reddening his face. He thought of going up to Estella and saying in his best James Bond voice, Camacho, Jose Camacho, at your service. He imagined she would say, righto, and together they would go off and talk in code. He even tried doing his homework. Estella was in history class, so he knew she was as bright as a cop's flashlight shining in your face. While they were studying Egypt, Jose amazed the teacher, Mrs. Flores, when he scored 20 out of 20 on a quiz, then 18 out of 20 when she retested him the same day because she thought he had cheated. Mrs. Flores, I studied hard. Ada Veras, you can call my mom, he argued, his feelings hurt. And he had studied so much that his mother had asked, ¿Qué pasó? What's wrong? I'm going to start studying, he'd answered. His mother bought him a lamp because she didn't want him to strain his eyes. She even fixed him hot chocolate and watched her son learn about the Egyptian god Osiris, about papyrus and mummification. The mummies had scared her so much that she had heated up a second cup of chocolate to soothe herself. But when the quizzes had returned and Jose bragged, another A minus, A plus, Estella didn't turn her head and ask, who's that brilliant boy? She just stuffed her quiz into her backpack and left the classroom, leaving Jose behind to retake the test. Oh man, she isn't noticing him. He's studying hard. He's trying to get her to notice him, but it's just not working. So one weekend, he wiped out while riding his bike, popping up over the curbs with his eyes closed. He somersaulted over the handlebars and saw a flash of shooting stars as he felt the slap of skin against the asphalt. Blood rushed from his nostrils like twin rivers. He bicycled home, his blood-darkened shirt pressed to his nose. When he examined his face in the mirror, he saw that he had a scrape on his chin, and he liked that. He thought Estella might pity him. In history class, she would cry, oh, what happened? And then he would talk nonsense about a fight with 3 vatos. But Estella had been absent the Monday and Tuesday after his mishap. By the time she returned on Wednesday, his chin had nearly healed. Oh man, so she didn't even see him with his injuries. Jose figured out another way to get to know her. He had noticed this grimy, sweat-blackened handle of a racket poking out of her backpack. He snapped his fingers and said to himself, racquetball, I'll challenge her to a game. He approached her during lunch. She was reading from her science book, biting into her second sandwich, which was thick with slabs of meat, cheese, and a blood red tomato. Hi, Jose said, sitting across the table from her. How do you like our school? Estella swallowed, cleared her throat, drank from her milk carton until it collapsed, and said, "It's okay, but the hot water doesn't work in the girls' showers." "It doesn't work in ours either," he remarked. Trying to push the conversation along, he continued, "Where are you from?" "San Diego," she said. She took another monstrous bite of her sandwich, which amazed Jose and made him think of his father, a carpenter who could eat more than anyone Jose knew. Jose, eager to connect, took a deep breath and said, "I see that you play racquetball. You want to play a game?" "Are you good?" Estella asked flatly. She picked up a slice of tomato that had slid out of her sandwich. "Pretty good," he said without thinking as he slipped into a lie. "I won a couple of tournaments." He watched as the tomato slice slithered down Estella's throat. She wiped her mouth and said, "Sure, how about after school on Friday?" "That's tomorrow," Jose said. "That's right, today's Thursday and tomorrow's Friday." She flattened the empty milk carton with her fist, slapped her science book closed, hurled the carton and her balled up lunch bag at the plastic-lined garbage can. "What's your name?" "Camacho, Jose Camacho." "I'm Estella. My friends call me Stinger." "Stinger?" "Yeah, Stinger. I'll meet you at the courts at 3:45. She got up and headed toward the library. After school, Jose pedaled his bike over to his Uncle Freddie's house. His uncle was 16, only 3 years older than Jose. Made Jose feel awkward when someone, usually a girl, asked, "Who's that hunk?" And he would have to answer, "My uncle." "Freddie," Jose yelled, getting to a stop in his driveway. Freddie was in the garage lifting weights. He was dressed in sweats and a Raiders sweatshirt, the hem of his t-shirt sticking out in a fringe. He bench pressed 180 pounds and put the weights down and said, "Hey, dude, Freddie, I need to borrow your racquetball racket." Jose said. Freddie rubbed his sweaty face on the sleeve of his sweatshirt. "I didn't know you played." "I don't. I got a game tomorrow." "But you don't know how to play." Jose had been worrying about this on his bike ride over. He had told Estella that he had won tournaments. "I'll learn," Jose said. "In one day?" "Get serious. It's against a girl." "So she'll probably whip you 21 to nada." "No way." Okay, so you can see some of the main things that have happened so far so of course Jose has a big crush on Estella, a new girl at school. So he's doing everything he can to get her attention. And so he finally thinks of a way to talk to her. So he finds out that she really likes to play racquetball. So Jose comes up with a plan to challenge her to a game of racquetball. An important note is that Jose has never played racquetball before, but he is convinced that he can beat her because I guess she's a girl, and you can kind of see that in what he says here. So he had told us, so "I'll learn," Jose said. "In one day, get serious. It's against a girl. So she'll probably wait for you 21 to nada." So while Jose thinks that he can still beat a girl, his uncle isn't as convinced. And so anyway, so Jose and Estella later in the story, as you continue reading, they play racquetball. So Estella beats Jose 21 to nothing. Jose even gets hit by a racquetball and he like goes down and gets pretty hurt. So anyway, he goes home after the game realizing that he doesn't really like Estella anymore. So you can see how his feelings change. He's really embarrassed that he got beat by a girl, and so it's kind of interesting how his feelings change throughout the story. But anyway, back to the main event. So you can see he starts with this big crush on Estella. He's doing everything he can to get her attention. So he finds out she plays racquetball, challenges her to a game. Then, of course, they play. Estella beats Jose and even gets hit by the racquetball, and then he goes home after the game, realizes that he doesn't like her anymore, and he's super embarrassed that he got beat by a girl. So here are some of the main events. And so what you're going to do is you're going to take 3 of these main events and you're going to create, let's go to the instructions. So once you have identified and listed the key events, what you're going to do is create a 3-frame little comic strip that's based on 3 of the events that you have identified. So you can add more frames if you'd like, but the minimum number of frames your comic strip needs to include is 3. So you can either draw your comic strip on paper or you can create it electronically using Storyboard That. And so in order to use Storyboard That, it's pretty simple. So you start with a scene, and so you can scroll through and say doctor's office. I don't know, say I want to choose one, kind of looks like a cafeteria or a seating area. So I can change the color of the tables and the chairs. I can change the awnings. Maybe I want them to be blue. Maybe I want the wall to be light blue, and so I can change these things. And maybe I want the table to be dark blue. And so then I need to add my characters. So I go through and I can choose a guy. Maybe he's sitting right here. And so then I can actually even edit his pose. So I can side view. I can say maybe he's sitting. And then I can change his expression. And then I go update. And then I can change his hair color. I can change his skin color. I can change his eye color and his shirt color, and so you can see. And then once I want to add it, say I want to add another character, and say I want to edit her pose so that she is walking by. Uh, and then I can change her dress and her skin color and her hair color and her shoes. Just need to scroll down. And so that's exactly, oh, and then one more thing for this is the shape, so text bubbles. So say I want him to be, maybe he's thinking something, and Stella is so cute. I wish she would notice me. And so then I add the speech bubble, I can move it, I can drag the bubbles to move it around. Okay, and so then once I'm done, I can save it. And then once you've saved it, it comes up with this little text box and you just need to choose the download one. Or you can actually, like, depending on the screen you have, you can actually go to print screen, and then, or you can take a picture of it and then you can send it to me. So if I take a picture of print screen and then I go into the challenge, and then I can attach it to the assignment. And so let me see if I can make it a little bigger, zoom in. And so here you can see my little sample comics. So here, Estella is so cute. Wish I could talk to her. So there, he's like sitting and he's seeing her. And he's like, "Hi, my name's Jose. Would you like to play racquetball sometime?" "Sure, we can play racquetball. Are you any good?" "Oh my goodness, she's so good. She's winning. But how's that possible? She's a girl." So he's getting kind of angry here. "I wonder if he's actually played racquetball before. I'm beating him so bad." And so then there's your little comic, okay? So everyone, if you have any questions, please let me know. Don't forget that also, in addition to this, there's one more thing that you need to do for the challenge, okay? Don't forget that you also need to answer the reflection question, okay? So remember that the reflection question is talking about how Jose's feelings towards the solace change, and what are they at the start of the story, what are his feelings at the end of the story, and how do those feelings change. Okay, so here is your little reflection question. So don't forget to answer that as well. Okay, so that's under CommonLit, the reading activities, the challenge reflection question. Okay, so thanks everyone. Hopefully you've had a great day and we'll see you again soon. Okay, bye.